Have you ever wondered what happens when you click on a mysterious pop-up that simply won't go away, no matter how many times you try to close it? Welcome to SherlockMode. In the shadowy corners of the internet, where curious minds venture into forbidden territories, lurks a digital curse that has haunted Japan for over 2 decades. This is the chilling tale of the Red Room Curse, a legendary pop-up that promises death to anyone unlucky enough to encounter it. It was the late 1990s when the internet was still a wild frontier, unexplored and untamed. In Japan, as personal computers began entering homes across the nation, something sinister was taking root in the digital realm. The legend begins with an innocent late-night browsing session. A curious teenager, alone in his room, searching the depths of the internet when suddenly, without warning, a small red pop-up window appears on his screen. The pop-up displays a simple, incomplete message in eerie black text, "Do you like?" But this is no ordinary advertisement. A childlike voice, distorted and unnatural, begins to speak the words aloud from the computer speakers. The boy tries to close the window, clicking the X button frantically. But each time he does, the pop-up reappears immediately, more text filling in the blank space. The voice grows louder, more insistent. Click after click, word by word, the message slowly reveals itself. "Do you like the Red Room?" The voice becomes a haunting whisper that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Then, in a moment that would haunt the legends of the internet forever, the entire screen turns blood red. A long list of names appears in black text, scrolling endlessly downward like a digital death register. At the bottom of this cursed list, the boy sees a name that makes his blood run cold, his friend's name. The same friend who had told him about this very legend just hours earlier at school. A chill runs down his spine as he realizes he is no longer alone in the room. The air grows thick and heavy. Behind him, he senses a presence, something ancient and malevolent breathing down his neck. The next morning, neither the boy nor his friend appears at school. Teachers and classmates grow worried as the hours pass, without any word from either student. By evening, the horrifying truth is discovered. Both boys are found in their respective homes, dead in their rooms. But this is no ordinary tragedy. The walls of both rooms are painted red, not with paint, but with their own blood. This terrifying tale might have remained just another urban legend, shared in whispers among students, if not for what happened in the early 2000s. An interactive Adobe Flash animation appeared on GeoCities, bringing the Red Room legend to life in a way that would forever change its impact on Japanese culture. The animation told the exact story we just witnessed, complete with the dreaded pop-up that appeared at the very end of the video, asking viewers the same fatal question. For years, this animation circulated through the darker corners of Japanese internet forums, gathering a cult following among those fascinated by digital horror stories. But everything changed on June 1, 2004, when reality and legend collided in the most terrifying way possible. At Okubo Elementary School in Sasebo, Japan, during the quiet lunch hour, a teacher discovered a scene that would shock the entire nation. In an empty classroom, she found the body of 12-year-old Satomi Mitarai, surrounded by a pool of her own blood. Her throat and arms had been slashed with a box cutter. The killer was her own classmate, an 11-year-old girl who approached the teacher covered in blood, calmly stating, "I have done a bad thing." Due to Japanese law protecting juvenile offenders, the killer was only referred to as Girl A in all media reports. But investigators would soon discover something that sent chills through the entire country. When they examined Girl A's computer, they found that her #1 bookmarked website was the Red Room Curse Flash animation. She had watched it repeatedly, becoming obsessed with its dark message. The investigation revealed that Girl A and Satomi had been close friends who shared an online bulletin board, passing notes and messages to each other like modern-day pen pals. But their friendship soured when Satomi posted cruel messages calling Girl a fat and a goody-goody. The words cut deep into the 11-year-old's already troubled mind. Girl A had been spending increasingly more time alone, isolated from her basketball team and diving deeper into the dark corners of the internet where the Red Room legend lurked. Her internet history revealed disturbing posts filled with hatred for her classmates. "They are despicable, stupid people. I am so sick and tired of my class." On another occasion, she had written, Killing humans is unforgivable and I won't do it. Well, what crap are you talking about? As if arguing with the very thoughts the Red Room curse had planted in her mind. For days before the murder, after Satomi's final cruel message, Girl A made her decision. She later told investigators, "I didn't think what she wrote was funny, so I called her out of the classroom. I meant to kill her." The murder was swift and brutal. Standing behind Satomi in the empty classroom, Girl A covered her victim's eyes and struck with the box cutter she had brought specifically for this purpose. As news of the Sasebo Slashing spread across Japan, the connection to the Red Room curse sent shockwaves through the internet community. Had a digital legend somehow influenced real-world violence? The public was horrified to learn that an 11-year-old child could commit such a calculated act of violence. But even more disturbing was the possible connection to the cursed animation. Girl A was sentenced to juvenile detention, but the case raised uncomfortable questions about the power of internet legends to influence young, impressionable minds. The internet community reacted with a mixture of fascination and horror. Some dismissed the connection as coincidence, while others believed the Red Room curse had claimed its first real victims. But the legend was far from over. Reports began emerging from across Japan of other mysterious deaths connected to the Red Room pop-up. Internet users claimed to have encountered the actual pop-up while browsing late at night, only to be found dead days later in rooms painted with their own blood. The legend evolved and spread beyond Japan's borders, inspiring horror films, short stories, and documentaries about the power of digital folklore in the modern age. Some variations of the legend claim that the pop-up can appear on any device connected to the internet, adapting to new technology as it spreads its curse. Others believe that the original GeoCities animation still exists somewhere in the dark corners of the web, waiting for curious souls to discover it. Korean internet users reported similar experiences, with the legend adapting to local languages and cultural fears, proving that digital curses know no borders. The Red Room curse tapped into our deepest fears about technology, the loss of control, the inability to escape, and the idea that something evil could reach us through our screens. Unlike traditional ghosts that haunt specific places, the Red Room curse could follow you anywhere there was an internet connection, making it the perfect modern horror. But as the years passed, something even more disturbing emerged. The legend began to inspire real-world copycats who used the Red Room story to terrorize others. Hackers created malicious software designed to mimic the cursed pop-up, using the legend's psychological power to frighten victims into compliance with their demands. The line between legend and reality became increasingly blurred as the digital age progressed, with some claiming that the original curse had evolved into something far more dangerous. This brings us to the central mystery that has haunted investigators and internet historians for decades. Let us analyze this phenomenon like the great detective himself would, examining the evidence piece by piece to understand what we're truly dealing with. First, the timing. The Red Room legend emerged in the late 1990s, exactly when the internet was becoming mainstream in Japan, but was still mysterious and frightening to many users. The legend perfectly captured the era's anxieties about losing control to technology, about strangers reaching into our homes through our computers, about the unknown dangers lurking online. Second, the Sasebo Slashing connection. While Girl A did have the animation bookmarked, she was already showing signs of isolation and anger before encountering the legend. The murder was triggered by cyberbullying and social isolation, problems that existed long before any cursed pop-up. The Red Room legend may have provided a framework for her dark thoughts, but it didn't create them. Third, the reported deaths. Despite decades of stories, no confirmed deaths have been directly linked to viewing the Red Room pop-up, beyond the Sasebo case. Most reported encounters with the pop-up turn out to be hoaxes, malware, or simple internet pranks designed to frighten users who know the legend. Fourth, the psychological power. The Red Room curse works not through supernatural means, but through the very human fear of losing control and the power of suggestion. When someone believes they've encountered the cursed pop-up, their fear and anxiety can manifest in very real ways, potentially leading to self-harm or dangerous behavior. Fifth, the adaptive nature. The legend has evolved with technology, appearing on new platforms and devices, showing how modern folklore adapts to contemporary fears. This adaptability suggests that the Red Room curse isn't a fixed supernatural entity, but rather a flexible cultural construct that reflects our changing relationship with technology. So, what can we conclude about the Red Room curse after examining all the evidence? The Red Room curse is not a supernatural entity in the traditional sense, but something far more insidious, a psychological virus that spreads through our digital networks. It preys on our fundamental fears about technology, isolation, and loss of control, using the very tools we rely on to communicate and connect with others. The legend's power lies not in any supernatural curse, but in its ability to tap into real psychological vulnerabilities, particularly in young people struggling with social pressures and digital identity. In the case of Girl A, the Red Room animation didn't cause her to commit murder, but it may have provided a narrative framework that helped her rationalize and carry out violence she was already contemplating. This makes the Red Room curse perhaps more dangerous than any traditional ghost story, because it operates in the realm where our digital and psychological lives intersect. The legend continues to evolve and spread because it addresses very real concerns about our digital age: surveillance, loss of privacy, cyberbullying, and social isolation. Every time someone encounters a pop-up they can't close, or feels stalked by targeted advertising, or experiences cyberbullying, the Red Room legend gains new relevance and power. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of our investigation is this: in an age where our lives are increasingly digital, the line between legend and reality continues to blur. Artificial intelligence, targeted advertising, and sophisticated malware have made it possible for our devices to truly seem to know us, watch us, and even influence our behavior in ways that would have seemed supernatural just decades ago. The Red Room curse reminds us that in our interconnected world, the most dangerous threats may not come from ancient spirits or traditional monsters, but from the very technology we've created to serve us. As we become more dependent on our devices and more isolated from real human connection, legends like the Red Room curse gain power by reflecting our deepest anxieties about the world we've built. So the next time you encounter a pop-up that won't close, or feel like your computer is watching you, or sense that something sinister lurks behind your screen, remember the Red Room curse. Not because it's supernatural, but because it represents something very real: the power of digital folklore to shape our fears, influence our behavior, and reflect the hidden dangers of our interconnected age. The Red Room curse may not be able to kill you through your computer screen, but it can kill in other ways, by inspiring real violence, by feeding paranoia and isolation, and by reminding us that in the digital age, our minds are just as vulnerable as our computers. In the end, the Red Room curse is exactly what it appears to be: a question. Do you like the Red Room? But the real question it's asking is whether we're prepared for the psychological and social consequences of the digital world we've created. The answer to that question may determine not just individual fates, but the future of human connection in an increasingly digital world. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, like and subscribe to Sherlock Mode.